Okay, first and foremost, I want to say, just get this up front. One, good
Three
moderator,
bingos.
best moderators. Thus, I've in my time of covering politics, I've
Yeah.
never seen moderation done this well. And maybe we didn't need it because people were a lot more civil back then, but very good. I don't know. What do you think?
The moderators are great, yeah. They shut him up quick, which was
Yeah,
surprising as fuck to me.
yeah.
But I think that's because like he likes one of them.
Mm.
Like uh I don't remember who they were because like I don't care about journalists, especially not on ABC. But
And I don't, man.
um
Oh, man, I don't know.
but
I
like
don't
yeah, I
know.
think he was like
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, I think he was just like I remember him talking about the ABC debate and why he chose ABC specifically. It's because he likes one of the
Mm,
moderators. It was the woman.
mm.
I don't remember who she was. Um, Maybe he wasn't even talking about her at the time, but anyway, like he agreed to it, which was surprising in the first
Mm,
place. Because at first he was denying it so much, right? Remember?
mm.
Like I'm surprised that he didn't hit the coup angle with regards to like Kamala replacing Biden.
He said
I
they
missed.
threw him out like a dog. Um,
Yeah, but it wasn't like the coup stuff. Like he's just softballing it now.
yeah, no,
Like
for
he's just
sure,
throwing it
yeah, for
out as
sure.
like another one of his phrases, quirky, funny things.
You know, was fact checked, right? No, and keeping up with the moderators and ABC's job here, the fact that they were calling out fact checks at least four separate times, and it seemed unbalanced or a little bit unfair, but also it was almost like and Trump didn't pick up on this. This is a common debate tactic. When you overtalk the moderator will spite you. So when you overtalk, several times they pointed out, since you brought that up, yes or no, can you tell us this answer? And for him not to have the ability to just say yes or no, it just looks like a child who got caught with his hand in a cookie jar. It's not aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't do well for your base because you look weak, you look inherently dodgy, and they don't want to be perceived as a dodgy person. I really don't know if he understands that
I
there's
don't
a
know about
difference
that one.
between debating and a pep rally. He treated this like a rally.
I don't know about I don't know about his base not wanting to be perceived as dodgy, considering all the voting for the felon stickers and fucking shirts and everything.
No, for sure, for
So,
sure.
like again, I don't think this was for his base, because or her base either. Uh, and like we
But
talked
then,
about it a
okay,
little
so
bit,
then,
but
yeah,
like
let's talk about who was this debate for? Because I don't think
I
there's
think
anyone.
it's not for anyone. I think it's just reality TV, really.
Hmm. Okay.
Like I don't think it's not important necessarily.
Mm,
Um, but I think like because here's the problem, right? Like we already know both of their policies, and they're essentially the same as they were 4 years ago.
mm,
From like Kamala's policies are no Biden's policies are no Kamala's policies, and Trump's policies are still the same
yeah.
thing as from 2020. So like we already know their platforms they're running on, except they're even more moderate now somehow. Thanks.
Mm.
Like there isn't even like a mention of trans people on her platform anymore.
It doesn't fill the quota, and that's one of the more diabolical things about this. About like when people, one true statement that they do say about Democrats is they will use social matters to fuel and bolster their campaign because their politics don't do it. When Black Lives
Yeah,
Matter was running tough, they were out there taking knees with fucking dashiki scarves on. Bitch, all we asked you to do was
yeah,
stop the cops from killing us. Get off your knee. Go write some legislative law. Like, the Democrats are proving to the trans community, the LGBTQ plus society, that you were a phase to them. And this is why it's so important that take when you do let them in, or you do become a a sort of shield for the Democratic Party, you have to get collateral. It is not enough to just stand with us. You need to be able to provide support. You need to have the laws put in place. I think Obama was the perfect example of this, how he was able to get gays legally married and be recognized as a couple in this country. That's something, that was the pathway forward for a lot of communities, and it just didn't resonate here. It really doesn't resonate when half the bingo board you created, not even half, but significant spots of it. We're talking about a global pandemic that shattered 1.8 million Americans in 1 year. Wasn't mentioned.
Yeah.
Insulin prices were mentioned. That's good.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Yeah. Arlington Cemetery. I think that was too recent. The fact that there was 2 school shootings today, with one that is still in the news, wasn't mentioned today.
But the Haitian migrants eating pets was.
Yeah, and that's right out of a movie script on the B plot of Hollywood. Like, what are we doing? Like, why is that on the forefront of people's minds when we have all these other problems? And you're right, it has to be strictly entertainment based because there was no substance here. I really want to meet someone who is not a decided voter, and then I want to know, like, what are your ambitions in life? Like, do you also have a difficult time figuring out what you want to wear every day? Like, is it a life and death matter for you when it's time to eat? You're not sure? And to that point, I think that's where Kamala started to lose me, because these points, it's just like, whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter. We know that Trump is going to come here and lie. If anyone came to this, some dude came to Trump lied that many times. What, bitch, what you mean he lied that many times? You ain't never heard the dude talk? It was to be expected. Yeah. I think the part that really just made everything kind of somber was, till this day, there's been no counterproductive argument. Stop talking to this man. Stop talking to this man. Kamala had 1 hour and 30 minutes to just straight up say, this is what we about to do, and this is how we gonna do it. And for all intents and purposes, she won this debate fine. She would have won it even more if she just came out and responded strictly to what her policy moving forward is and adulating to the people she wants to bring over to the Democratic side. Because talking to Trump doesn't do anything anymore.
Never did, I'd argue.
I wouldn't be against that argument. I wouldn't be against it. I'm just truly mystified if the Democrats understand that this is not a battle. This is a battle of nutrition. You're not going to beat this animal. Like, this dude he's a wounded, cornered animal. He's not going to let you, like, he's going to fight regardless. But the onus is on you to have an impressionable mindset and say and do things in the way that you actually want to do it. Because attacking Trump at this level doesn't do anything.
See, I think, like what we talked about earlier as well, kind of pertains to this. The fact that Democrats love Republicans,
love them
so much. I think, like at least part of this has to be like a desperate attempt at trying to capture the dissolution with Trump bloc, which we're all gonna vote for either RFK or just not gonna vote. Like, because there's no way in fucking hell is someone who voted for Trump in 2016 or especially 2020, but like now is disillusioned, gonna vote for fucking Kamala Harris.
But I think I think
that transition is non-existent.
I believe it is. I'm and I say this for 2 reasons. Because and I speak from as a person who lives on the border. Like, I share a border with Wisconsin. So when I come to the hospital and I see the dude who always had the Trump sticker on his car, and then after Trump lost, and then insult to injury, salt in the wounds, and then that sticker goes away, and then I see him signing people up to register to vote at the Democratic booth. Even though I never talked to this dude and he never knew I was into politics, I watched someone become deprogrammed. Another thing that's kind of fascinating is we know that there's a lot of people, specifically Republicans, who talk about politics without having any political intuition. They're not registered to vote. They don't have an oath. They just want to be part of the argument. The argument fills them. The actions don't matter. That's why this seems like a forever losing battle. Because we're arguing sometimes in large part, and I don't care who you vote for, as long as you goddamn vote, because you can't talk here if you're not even registered to vote. You just look bad. So like when someone comes to me and say that they voted for Trump in 2020 or 2026, 2016 or whatever, and now they're saying, well, I see the light. I don't want to discount them because people are allowed to grow.
I don't disagree that those people exist. Like specific, like even like. Hold on, my cat's meow. Hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry, continue without me.
Another thing that I really wanted to I kind of found absurd about this was how quickly it descended into being immature. Like this conversation seemed too approachable. The way they were talking to each other, the way they were debating, it sounded dumbed down. I replay the debate conversations that Obama had with his counterparts, Mitt Romney and company, and just seeing how recall those conversations as just thinking that they were a lot more eloquent. But the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about this is there was too many times in this conversation I felt like this was a mother talking to her child. And not like a baby.
It wasn't two adults talking.
It wasn't two adults talking. And it's one of those, it's that same myth where it's like if a crazy person's saying the sky's green and you're trying to correct them and in the distance y'all both look crazy. So for her, it hurts her sometimes when she's doing it. I only feel she should stoop to his level when she's going there to rectify a mistake. And it has to be personal mistakes. He doesn't know his policy, so why you care about if he know? Like you're trying to correct him on your policy. He literally called you Joe Biden 3 times.
Joe Biden.
So I don't know how to feel about somebody like this debate did not help him, and I'm just confused. Like, what did he think was gonna Did he really think he was gonna steamroll Kamala Harris like he did Joe Biden?
It's crazy.
I there were several times where he gave instances or questions about direct attacks, you could call them, but at the end of the day, that's not what's gonna win you over. And when faced with the because you want to know what ABC did that was kind of cold blooded when they were hoping they were gonna get some great sound bites from him, but it's very clear his team told him you cannot fall for the bait. Do not call her out of her name. Deny. So when he didn't give him the sound bites, ABC straight up said, "Hey, when you called her black, you don't know if she's black or Asian. What did you mean by that?" And to see him frolicking like that and not having a clear, concise answer or pathway, that looked. It was just like, yo, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Taurus.
Which is also a bit of an indictment on the media part of what role ABC played in this, right? Because this isn't they're not doing this because they want the American people to see two presidential candidates talk policy, right? Mm-hmm. This is absolutely to just grab clips, right? Essentially.
No, and Torres, you make a great point. As weird as this is very tactical in the sense, right? This was because this is a dude who has access to all of our secrets and can be manipulated by being complimented. So it rises like this is a dude that kept top secret papers locked in a bathroom with a gold toilet in it, right? So like Trump,
which is fire.
It has credence, but it's also gaudy as fuck. So like,
I mean, for a guy like him, I feel like that's exactly the kind of shit he would have.
And I'm fearful that we've become a little bit too complacent with it. Like the show's over. 2016, like I'm tired, but I am I so tired that I don't remember what it was like. Like was 2008, 2012 that bad? Like, or was it because I was in college and I just didn't have the wherewithal to understand what was going on around me?
Well, the reason I think it, like specifically 2008 and 2012 weren't that bad is because first of all, one of them was McCain, so that's already an L. But second of all, the second was fucking Mitt Romney, which is even worse. But like the way he performed at the RNC, like Mitt Romney in 2012, was so fucking abysmal that like they couldn't pick anyone, and so they picked fucking Palin for VP. Which was like at this point, like it was basically just a formality for him to show up at the debates, you know, because like there was no way you were going to win against Obama.
Yeah,
the incumbent.
I would like to take a second here to look at some of the points, and so we can start just with the things that have zeros in them.
Yeah. First of all, that cringe meter on Kamala Harris
it doesn't
says
work.
0, which is incorrect.
I know. I wrote down that I had exactly 8 for her in total.
Okay.
So I had 8 for Kamala, but the fact that Palestine is the only thing that didn't get hit on my list. But she mentioned having a lethal army. And Trump also mentioned we would finish this quick. Does lend credence to both parties being perfectly fine with Palestinians being wiped off the face of the planet. Because there's no qualms about it, right? There should be no qualms about it. It wasn't mentioned. So they're okay with that. They're okay with that.
Palestinians were mentioned, but not Palestine. Yeah.
So
only Israel.
So for me, it is an indictment, and if there are consequences for this in the polls, and we can tie it back to this very moment, then the election was lost, right? If enough people stood on their because I'm never gonna be mad at someone for standing on their business. If you said I'm not voting for you because you didn't talk about me, I wouldn't turn around and say, "Oh, you're a sellout, you're a cat," because when Black Lives Matter didn't matter, I didn't see, okay, why am I voting? What the fuck's the point of voting? No one cares about it, so why should I care, right? So if I could have that moral high ground and use that to my advantage, I have to accept it. On your bingo sheet, looking at it, I see Arlington Cemetery wasn't mentioned. COVID wasn't mentioned. Weird. Tampon Tim. No name calling. Very, very civil, but very catty.
Yeah.
Nothing
about it was very catty, yes.
Very catty. Nothing mentioned about DEI. No tax.
It was kind of like sidelined, I feel like.
Yeah, like these I feel like these are topics that didn't make it into like we
I think if it was 2 hours, it would have been eventually just mentioned
in passing. Nothing about a ceasefire. So out of those,
she didn't even say the word ceasefire.
So like out of those things, how are you feeling about just the gaps in this conversation?
So the only two serious ones are obviously like COVID and ceasefire, right? Mm-hmm. And with regards to COVID, it just kind of speaks to the broader, like, quote-unquote policy of COVID is over, go back to work. That, like, while cases of lung COVID are spiking up, and while cases of, new novel coronavirus, like, variants are also spiking up in the country. Like, fucking hate that. Really, like I don't know what to say at this point. Like it's just like the whole fucking the way that her campaign is just Biden 2.0, like nothing will fundamentally change, go back to work, is just frustrating at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's in regards to COVID. Like, I don't know. Listen to like hospitals are going to be overcrowded. Like by the time she gets in office or he gets in office, God forbid.
Okay. And this is and to that point, if I don't you the thing is, two people came into debate, but only one person came in to win the debate. And surprisingly, Trump was the only person who wanted to win the debate. Kamala Harris had one goal tonight, and it was to expose Donald Trump. It was when when you're an adult, you don't have to do or say much to show who the children are in the room. She really did decimate this dude on that.
Yeah, but she didn't have to.
He did it to himself. So like that's why I lend credence to my first statement where I was like, if she just sat there and said, hey, so this is my 12-step plan for how we're gonna get abortion figured out, and just used the 2 minute to do that, and then Trump would have came back and been like, well, she's not gonna do it. Well, yeah, we are, because I just gave you a 12-step plan, so elect me. Like, he doesn't have a plan. Like, literally, do you have a plan to remove Obamacare? You tried it 6 times. It didn't work. I'm still working on a plan. Do you have a plan? It's being built.
We got concepts.
That
I already got memes and being sent into me with that shit.
That is great. Because and therein lies the proof in the pudding. She just had to prove that he was not as good as she is.
You know what? Her smiles and laughs while she was off mic were enough.
It was
like
enough.
Honestly,
it was. like I think Val said it once in chat when he said something. Even I turned my head like, what did you just say? Yeah. And there was a very sort of a iconic or ambivalent moment where she made a mad dash to shake his hand, and a lot of people didn't realize that's literally her embodying crossing the aisle to go meet. He had no intentions of shaking her hand, or this is the first time they ever met. So like she
true, yeah.
She really did embody that moment. Like from the moment she stepped on the stage, she had this planned out. She actually had an exit strategy. She had an exit statement. Could you imagine attacking someone as your last call? Like the people ask you, hey, what are you going to do for the people? I'm going to attack her for the next 2 minutes. What a waste.
To be fair to Kamala Harris, which is not something I ever thought I would say, like her closing statement, policy-wise, was filled with policy.
It was.
For what it's worth. Not good policy, mind you. Not good at all.
But I mean, and you can't fall into the complacency of just like saying, okay, we got some policy, thank God. We have to. This is when you're supposed to apply pressure, right? I want to say she's been waiting for this moment to really let loose. And and while she doesn't, and I think the charisma suck might be a consequence of her not really being into, like, I don't think she really feels as welcomed in the thing, because Trump made an offhand statement that got overlooked, but it's something that a lot of people internally in our party talk about. How Kamala Harris didn't just fit into the Joe Biden agenda. And to be honest, she didn't fit in because she's a black woman working under what was literally an incompetent white man. And now the tides are turning. And there was stories and developments about how the Biden party wasn't being as gracious in the transition. But now that the party is fully behind her and she has all delegates, she gets to show her ass a little bit. And I think this was the perfect time to do it. Don't steal the thunder of, or don't rush to don't like shoot all your shots at once. Use the momentum. Hey, Joe Biden steps down, you step in. Momentum boost. You get JD Vance get mentioned, stifles you, mention Walls. Boom, momentum swing again. RNC has Hollywood Hulk Hogan without any damn sleeves on his suit. Hey, we bring in our
Bring in
people.
Michelle.
Yeah, we bring in Michelle and Obama. Boom, swing the vote. And gracefully, hey, what's it called, goes to Nebraska to talk about a restaurant he actually knows and loves. People love it. They're shaking his hands. He's talking about history. JD Vance doesn't know how to order donuts. Now, but now, and people were saying this, and it was so, once again, I just don't know if people understand how dangerous she is when on a debate stage. She was built for that. She's a prosecutor, the top cop in the country.
Yeah, which brings its own set of problems, but
no, absolutely.
Disregarding that,
but if you're going against a felon, that's who I would want.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the only time cops actually doing their actual job.
Yeah.
Like,
truly fascinating. But go ahead.
I feel like she's boxed in. You know what I mean? Like, in regards to the whole, like, when and where to apply the momentum she's gained. Because I feel like her advisors are making misstep after misstep lately. Like, I keep bringing this up because it's so bad, but the fucking border bill is pissing me off the most right now. Obviously, Israel, Palestine, but we've already taken that as granted that nothing will really, like, get good messaging on that, right?
Okay, can I ask you a question about that, though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you be okay with a 2-state solution?
Sure. Yes,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I would be okay with it in terms of, like, okay, so my pipe dream, right, would be a 1-state solution, just like, I don't care, like, bring them together and stop all this fucking bullshit nonsense. 2-state solution is okay, I guess, but it's not enough to just say 2 states, there needs to be a 2-state solution. That's not enough to me. Because, first of all, you have to somehow, like, stop the immediate genocide happening, and then undo, like, decades of history that has been caused by Israel to Palestine, you know? But that's, like, we can talk about Israel Palestine, like, later, like, on a dedicated stream or something. Right now, like, I feel like, back to my original point, I feel like she's boxed in with how and when to apply the momentum that she's gained. Like, the border bill, talking about the border bill, I feel like just kind of, like, hurts her in her base, because I feel like I don't think that Democrats are that, like, Democratic voters are that blood hungry for, like, migrant blood. I get that she's trying to appeal to Republicans, but you can't beat the Republicans. You can't beat the Republicans at being racist. Like, it is explicitly a racist bill, and she talks about it in explicitly racist terms. There's just no two ways about it.
Do you feel that her mentioning that, they had a bill that they wanted to sign, but they didn't, but he shot it down, he got the Republicans to shoot it down. Do we not loan credence to because if we're being honest, if we look at the border bill was the accolades we gave up were numerous and vast, far-reaching. The Democrats very much agree with border security, but they don't believe in the optics. Anyone who took a chance to read some of the leaked proposals from third parties that were doing arbitration on it, they don't have like, I don't want people to sit here and think for 1 second that Reagan's California doesn't exist if it wasn't for illegal immigrants. Like, California is the way it is now because of immigrants. If Reagan had it his way,
sure.
we wouldn't have California would be red. So I truly am confused at like the Democrats' inability to just state with the no need to increase or do anything more than what the bill already promised. Like, that's like saying we have a plan, everyone agreed on a plan, but it didn't make it through, so we're gonna keep offering you more stuff. No, the plan is fine. And it wasn't until now, I think the last time this was even an issue was 1980. This is the first time that the Democratic Party has had a negative trajectory on immigration. It's so weird because that is how we win. And once again, I said this earlier, the Republicans have the weirdest way of gaslighting us into giving up our positions. Now she's saying, "Oh, I'm for fracking, I'm for natural gas, I'm for oil," and as you're saying, climate control is an issue, and he's sending a shout out to Elon Musk. How did we get here?
Yeah, it is gaslighting, especially with how that bill took like 3 rounds before it got rejected. Like, finally fully. It's like, you're not killing enough migrants. Like, what? You are supposed to be the party that's against killing the migrants.
Yeah. I don't.
And just giving up that ground and touting it as a presidential candidate. Like, okay, fine, you gave up the bill didn't pass because Trump, like I feel like they wouldn't talk about it at all if it wasn't like Trump's aides or allies that shot it down, but just no-name Republicans, which was what happened, by the way. They just say it's Trump because he said, "Oh, bad bill."
Yeah. Yeah. No,
like, if they didn't talk about it, then they could let it slide even. But they have to talk about it because it's Trump. Because Trump has his name associated with it now because he put himself on it.
No, for sure. And Shake, you make a great point. Democrats really did have to feel that heat when those busing guy, like they literally were allowed to human traffic illegal immigrants, and no governor suffered consequences for that. But I mean, we can go in circles here. Was there anything? Is there anything in particular you wanted to touch on?
I'm surprised that there was more non-answers from Kamala than Trump, that we counted at least.
Yeah, that one I think that kind of fell into 2 categories, which was she was defending instead of just answering the question. Like, just answer the question. And also, I think I might also press the number the wrong way because I think it was like 5 or 7. But I was because I was trying to get the cringe up, so I think I hit the wrong button. But
okay.
Score wise, just looking at it, there's a part of me that says like, am I being a little biased here? But then I keep literally we talked when Kamala was talking, because she didn't really she had one job, and that was just not to look unhinged. But do you think that's
to her credit, she mostly...
Go ahead.
To her credit, she mostly didn't look unhinged. Mostly. When she wasn't talking about the military and immigration and shit.
Yeah.
The Ukraine stuff was bad, and NATO was bad. Yes, that's what I wanted to talk about.
NATO was bad.
Who? Okay. I have a question, right? This is an open question to anyone in chat as well. Do you care about NATO? Like, right now as it pertains to your, like, standard of living? Is that something you care about? I'm willing to bet that not a lot of people care about NATO, especially those that Kamala is supposed to be representing. because a lot of Kamala's voters are going to be people who do not have geopolitics degrees. You know,
Mm.
that's first. Second of all, really, really bad look to talk about how NATO must be all powerful, like right after the fucking Turkey stuff that Turkey was blocking Sweden and Finland's entry into NATO. Like coming off of that, it's kind of like that just kind of like made me well, I was already, anti-NATO, but I'm, you know, because of certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like, but even then, like I feel like at this point, after the whole Turkey blocking Finland and Sweden stuff, I feel like that should have given more people pause
Mm.
about like what is this NATO thing even? Because in my eyes, at least, I might be a little biased, but in my eyes, NATO was created as like a quote unquote bastion of capitalism after the fall of Soviet Union, right?
Yeah. The question
And
I
it's ostensibly really sorry, it's ostensibly like an anti-Russia organization, pretty much to like keep Russia in check, quote unquote. But like, my question is, why is it that you have to kowtow to Europe, but while also being supposedly like the chair of NATO, and also ordering NATO around? So like, the organization of NATO is really fascinating, really, because like you're supposed to be this treaty organization, like it's just international military, right?
yeah.
Um, you're being led by like European countries in terms of armed trade, but then you're also the one leading them into other countries to become NATO states. It's very weird. But yeah.
Nah, those are all good points, and you got some responses in the chat as well. I think I want to go back to the earlier part in the debate and kind
Yeah.
of do. Am I one of the biggest misconceptions I probably had about Donald Trump was that he was playing a role, like he's like a Dr. Kid Inspector, Dr. Diddler, like he plays a role. But today, for the first time, it became abundantly clear to me that he is actually dumb. He doesn't know what
Yeah.
he's doing. No, but Shake and I truly feel like I was under the impression like we are all in on the joke. But no,
Well,
this
that's what the whole feeling like you're in on the joke thing was kind of just like what kind of helped him to the presidency in 2016, because like that's absolutely the angle media was pushing.
yeah.
Like, oh, look at this doofus, isn't he
Yeah.
funny? Right?
Um
But
but I guess in
he definitely became more unhinged in 2020, right? Like that was the first point of collapse, I think. But then he just kind of went back to being a doofus because he lost, and we were like, oh, okay, we're safe. But now we're like picking up the slack because like, oh
Slack, yeah.
shit, like he might win again.
Yeah, and like literally, we got out of a pandemic. We're still suffering from the fact of like inflation and all of the back end infrastructure letdowns they had. I think the thing that like and probably in sort of going into our closing, what were some of the things that not necessarily probably caught you off guard, but like we like I said, we knew he was gonna come in and lie. But did you expect him to break character that much? To lose his composure, to not be
I
able to was that something we were expecting?
Okay, so here's the thing. Absolutely expected, but holy shit, did I not expect it to go so many times. Like the amount of times he got catty and he smiled with that big old smile of his,
Yeah.
I was giddy. His responses had that tone that certain groups of people have when they're encountering a certain other group of people.
Facts.
And like you were right. you were right with saying that like you feel like he's gonna say it
If he says the
in like 5
N-word,
minutes,
it's
because
just
like
great. It would be so great. I just want him to end his like his presidency run on a high note, like because he's been taking a lot of L's.
yeah, just say it, please. I want him to say it so bad. It's infinite content too.
He would go down like he would literally go
like
down.
If anything, it might let him win. Like just say it, please.
I'm so curious. Like, and this would probably be my closing thought on this. I just wanted. This is a dude who has been through a lot. This is a dude that had an assassination attempt on his life. This is a person who won the election, lost in 1 year. Like, he got COVID after saying it did. Like, this is a dude that has constantly had to learn on his back foot. And his sentence has been pushed to after the election. And you just gotta wonder, when's his luck gonna run out? And I don't think he at any point had the momentum. He hasn't regained momentum since Kamala Harris has stepped on the scene, and it's really affecting him. And when the news articles break on this tomorrow, I'm pretty sure Truth Social is going crazy right now. But like, we are truly watching the decline of him, and it makes me nervous because I today just realized that this isn't an act. And if he was serious about Jan 6, and we saw the chaos that happened there, there's huge repercussions for his stated claim, which is the bloodbath. And keep in mind, when asked, did he say that? He said it was a lie. That is a lie. So it's like,
a lie to him.
It's a lie. No, it's a lie to him, but the people who needed to hear that heard it. So for me,
free license to J6 too. Let's go.
Yeah. The game's over. The jig's up.
I think it might be possible. It'll be really funny if it happens again, or something similar.
But
I don't think it'll happen again.
No,
maybe the officers will be more prepared.
No. I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, it's definitely not.
I think it's gonna happen an active shooter at polling spots. That's what I see. Because those are we talk about soft targets all the time. What is the softest target I've ever seen is gonna be a voting site.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, the messaging, like that's the messaging I'm hearing. If I'm not, and maybe I'm reading it too much into this, but that was now that it has dawned on me that this dude he knows he can't win, so he wants to send a message. And that's where my mind goes.
Okay. If he knows that he can't win,
and his people,
I don't think his staffers know that. No, it has to. Okay, so here's something that like I think is mildly accurate about Trump that I hold to that I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He is not stupid in the way I was saying earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like I might call someone stupid for not knowing something. I think he's stupid only in the way that he's incoherent.
Yeah.
And I think that he has good instincts for all his faults. His instincts are good. So if he does think that he can't win, I think it's either he's being forced to run by the party because they have no other alternative, because the other alternative is who exactly? They cannot run anyone else but Trump right now. There is no, like, candidate old enough to be the same level of fascism as him, so they still have to groom some more people first before that happens. So either he's being forced to run, or he actually thinks he wins, and I don't know which one is worse.
I think okay, and I think and I think those are all great questions, but that question is going to need to be answered in the next 4 years.
Yeah, because there's going to be no Trump next election season.
Yeah, no matter what, whether it's the father of time, the 3 strikes and you're out, or he actually wins and runs the course, what's next? It's not JD. So the void, the vacuum that will be left behind by this cataclysm is truly going to be unearthing. Truly. But to the chat's point, I am probably a little bit more doom and gloom, but I just see him telling people, like, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but he told people to go to Capitol Hill. So what makes you think he's not going to tell his people to go make sure illegals aren't voting?
You know that meme that right-wingers post that, like, Trump is like the shield between you and, like, dangerous ideas or whatever the fuck it is on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's cynically accurate in that Trump is like the last wave of, like, Republican fascism light, and that after Trump is gone, you will have actual full-on fascism. Like, not to say that, like, if he wins, it's not going to be fascism, but the fact that, like, it's going to be, like, full-on unbridled, absolutely no holds barred fascism. Like, they're not even going to, like, pretend to make it palatable.
All right. We'll have to see, but I think it's very clear who the winner was here.
Yeah, it was me. I won the debate.
Nah, it definitely was. Yeah, clap it up. I definitely want to say thank you so much, Yak, for giving me the courage to do this and helping out. If you guys don't know, you should definitely be following Yak. Yak is the voice that you hear in the back of your head talking about all this politics stuff. And you know, I called Yak before this. She was already preparing for me to, like, do this, helped out with the bingo sheet, so, like, just made it so much easier for me. I often get a little bit nervous about doing political shows on this channel because there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that are kind of stressing me the hell out nowadays, but I try to maintain the person you guys, when you guys first got here, I would love it if you guys could that version of me that kept you coming back was always here. So when I choose to talk politics, I know that there's a group of people that probably don't find it to be super comfortable. It's a hard thing to talk about. But the people who do stick around and want to engage, especially during a political year, it's too much ingrained in me. And Yak sees that in me. So whenever she gives me an opportunity to collab, this is the second time we've worked together, I really take advantage of it because it does give me the ability to stretch my chops and truly deep dive into the political jargons that I really enjoy, especially during a political year. So once again, thank you so much for being here and putting time on your calendar for me. The people. Now
Thank you so much for having me. Oh yeah, I'm a Yankee. What do you guys say? What's an American phrase? Yeet yeet.
Yeet?
Is that good?
Gat.
Yeah.
Gat.
Gat. Ohio Riz Phantom Text.